we're back. It's Gentlemen Critics. I'm Kyle. We got Jesse and Alex here, and with this part, we are going to be covering the Arkham series. We each have differing views on what we think is the best game in the series. We're not counting Arkham Origins, although we do enjoy it from what we've seen or played of it. But we'll mostly be talking about the main games, and we're gonna let Jesse start it off with Arkham Asylum. We're gonna move in three parts. So, Jesse, take it away.
All right, yeah, Arkham Asylum is my favorite game out of the series. It was, obviously the first game I played of the series. It was all of ours. This was one of the first. It was this probably the second 360 game I ever played. I got it the very night I got my first Xbox 360. My cousin Cameron kicked my Xbox the first night I had it, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 got messed up. So
Thanks,
I had
Cameron.
to play Arkham Asylum. He did, however, give me a new copy, so I'm very thankful for that. But starting off, the atmosphere in Arkham Asylum is the best of the trilogy. It
Yes.
it it kicks off so well. You're not even at Arkham Asylum, but don't even know what you're in for the rest of this game. It's you're maybe like 10 hours in. It says you're only like 15% done with the game. It's crazy. The game world was made fantastic. Every little detail of this world was meticulously thought out and just made so well. It proved you didn't need Gotham to make a fantastic Batman game.
It's
You
true.
didn't,
That's very true.
and also, in my opinion, it did Harley Quinn justice.
Yeah.
I don't think she was that big of a character before this game. She only came out a few years before that in the comic books, and she got her first really big feature in Arkham Asylum, and so that's why everybody knows Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn, I feel, is because of Arkham Asylum. Um, the future games did improve upon features, but for a first entry, Arkham Asylum was just amazing in everything it did. One of the best video games ever made, in my opinion. It. What else? You got the Scarecrow segments, which bring a whole new spin on it. They're just little segments, but they work so well. It's just one of the many things in this game that they do so they just meticulously craft, and it's a world. This is a world. The game did its villains, I think, more justice than other Arkham games, and me saying that, I said I gave the villains more screen time in this one. It utilized them better and more often than the other games.
I agree with that.
In Arkham City and Arkham Knight, the villains were more spread out, and you didn't have as much screen time to really play with them because there was so much more content thrown into it. So you might not have gotten as much presence of these other ones, so it wasn't as big. Also, yeah, and they didn't impact the story as well as some of the villains in this one. The ending of Arkham Asylum was maybe not the best ending.
I'd
I think
agree with that.
we can
I would
all
agree.
agree on that. It may not be a Joker thing to do by going full monster and going to kill him. He is crazy, but he's more kind of a fun time. You know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would say that was a little weak. Also, probably the last few things I have on it, amazing scenes that it was able to do, like the recreation of Bruce's parents' death,
hmm
what you see in the game, and then you walk as a little boy down a long hallway, and you don't. It's seemingly endless, and it's just like it's one of the things that the game just messes with you. It's the first time a game truly messed with me on emotional, just I don't know, just in so many aspects. So Arkham Asylum, in my opinion, is one of the greatest games of all time and the best game in the series. So yeah, now we have Alex is going to talk about Arkham City.
All right, thanks, Jesse. I do agree with you on a lot of those points, though. Arkham Asylum was awesome. When I first had it, that's all I played for a solid 6 months.
Yeah. I want to say some things about Asylum too. I mean, of course, that's my second favorite game in the Arkham series. It would be Asylum, and I had such a connection to that game from the very beginning of it. I felt uh, Arkham was always a place I wanted to go. And if I could
Mm,
explore somewhere in Gotham as Batman, Arkham would have been one of my first choices. So for them to
Yeah.
give me that at such an early stage of the whole Batman scene really exploding quite like it has in terms of video games, uh, that was just so cool. And one of my favorite things, like you said, the utilization of villains. I absolutely loved the cells that throughout the game I would just see, oh, that's Calendar Man's cell.
yeah.
Oh, that's this person's cell. I just loved that so much. Easter eggs they really do it for me, especially when it comes to comic book villains. So that was one of a very big thing for me with Asylum. So I love that game.
The second game in the series of this Arkham series was Arkham City. One of the first big things that it was a real big selling point for when they first announced the ideas for it and the art styles and all that for it was the open world gameplay. They now, as far as open world goes, I wouldn't say Arkham City has the biggest landscape possible as far as compared to games like Skyrim, Fallout, Grand Theft Auto, those kind of open world games that try to be as big as possible. But it gave a lot of options to it. There were a lot of different side quests and side missions to go about, and there were just so many different places to go. In connection to what you guys were talking about, the villains, the usage of villains throughout the game. I loved it in Arkham City because it's what I imagine downtime is like in Gotham City. Each villain off doing their own thing. Occasionally you'll run into more than one at a time. But, the time being the Riddler's over here messing with Batman, and the Penguin's over here at his club, and Bane's doing God knows what at the other end of the city. And it's just there's so much going on all the time. You got to wonder, how does Batman keep up with it?
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
Another big part of it though was how it was drawn. It was drawn, very similar to this is more or less to all the games rather than just City. The art style of these games is awesome. It's dark, it's creepy.
Completely agree with that.
The lighting is always so well done.
I always have thought that to me, it really looks like a super well done video game version of the Warner Brothers animation style.
I would
And
agree.
it
Just
looks
a
so
really high
iconic.
definition. Yeah.
Yeah, it took like Batman Returns and like amped it up a little bit with the whole winter aesthetic.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good point to make. It's just the way Batman looks in video games now, really. It was so well done.
Another thing that really sold it on me, as I've mentioned before, I'm real big on DC. I watched the animated series growing up. The voice acting and all the people they got to choose to play all the characters of the game, all phenomenal. I mean, you got the classics like Mark Hamill coming back as the Joker. You're never going to be able to replace that. So to have that solidified into all these video games is just cool to have.
Yeah.
Um, One thing about games that I usually tend to lean towards to is how much I can play them, how many times I can come back to them. And I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many hours I put into the Arkham City games, but it's more than most. Maybe not as much as Skyrim, but so much time was put into Arkham City trying to do all the little Riddler hints and taking down all the different thugs and doing side quests for freeze and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, for a first game trying to do that open world thing in the Arkham series, I think it did its job really well. It wasn't
Oh yeah,
so open like Arkham Knight, but that's more on technical abilities. But
yeah.
with what it had to start out with, Arkham City just it blew me away too. It was just like, wow, this is great. I kind of do feel like Batman roaming around. It is a little concealed and a little bit closed in, but overall, I think it was able to spread it out pretty nicely, though.
Thought so too.
Regardless, yeah.
Now, as far as like how the game ran, I think it was probably the least buggiest game I played out of the three of them. That I did play Origins a good portion of it, but I ran into a lot of bugs with Arkham Asylum,
Yeah,
and
me too.
which is to be expected because it was the first in the series, and that
Yep.
company had Rocksteady hadn't made a game like that in a while or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know. Biggest thing about it for me though, it just the atmosphere captures it. You are Batman in that game. You're able to be where you need to be and take down who you need to take down. I just think it worked the best.
Okay. Well, I am going to then jump off of that and go right in to Arkham Knight, the best game in the Arkham series, if you ask me. Now, when I played Asylum, I was totally sold on the whole aspect of I am on the Asylum. That's where I'm going to be this whole time. But when Arkham City was coming out, I was under the impression that Gotham would be my playground. Now,
That's fair.
although it sort of was, I didn't quite feel like I was Batman. I was patrolling and saving anybody I felt the need for. This was my city and I was fighting for it. It didn't quite feel like it felt like I was Batman, but I wasn't, out here like looking over Gotham like, "Oh, this is my place." But in Arkham Knight, I had that. I had that connection. This was my city. These were my islands. And I could save people. And I had to save it. I felt the rush. The story had me, you know? And just so many times while playing Arkham Knight, I just lost track of time and what I was doing or how long I was playing because I was Batman. And I was just enjoying it so much. Uh, just, for me, the biggest thing was that I had an expectation for City and the openness and the free roam I was going to have, and they didn't give me that the way I wanted it to. So for me, Arkham Knight was the game I wanted and never got. So to finally get it, it was so great, and I loved it. I loved it so much. And you talked about, Alex, that going back and replayability, and I think Arkham Knight offers the most replayability simply because it's so interesting. And I mean, like, again, and I'm going to bring what Jesse you said in one of our previous episodes when we talked about The Killing Joke. That is one
Uh-huh.
of the most famous graphic novels ever.
Yeah.
So, for them to take that and put an original spin on it and do it in a completely different way that no one's done before, and then you add that onto a Scarecrow-driven story in the best adaptation I've ever seen of Scarecrow, then you
I would
throw
agree with
Mark
that.
Hamill returning on top of that. It was perfect. I can't imagine a better Batman game that I had seen at that point, and not yet. And
Yeah.
they're gonna have to do a lot to top this for me. I mean, I loved it, and the season pass. They did so many great deals with the season pass, and I was able to get so much more content. I think I paid $17 for the season pass and downloaded everything that they had released, and I loved it. I thought they did a great job giving me more things to do, and one of the great DLC moments I had, you were talking about Harley Quinn. You actually get to play as Harley Quinn in one of the DLCs, and that was really,
Yeah.
really fun. I really enjoyed that. Uh, I was running around hitting people with a giant bat as Harley Quinn. So I don't know. It just the replayability that was involved in that game for me was very high. If anything, it was a game where I could lose myself in. If I was stressed, I could just go in and fly around or drive the Batmobile. It was just
Yeah.
I felt like I was Batman, and this was my Gotham.
Yeah, it is the first truly open world Batman game. It did a great job with that.
Yeah,
It's gorgeous. It is the best looking Batman game
Hmm.
so far. I
by
mean, Arkham
far.
Asylum probably had the best atmosphere, but this one with the graphics definitely ramped up. I could definitely see next gen graphics out
Hmm.
of this Batman game. Um,
Oh, for sure.
yeah. A con I would say with the game, and this is just a problem I personally have with games, and Kyle, you know this, and Alex, you probably know it too, is it felt too fetch questy.
Yes,
All
I know
right.
that's a problem you can have with games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
there was too much. It's it's the same reason I rip on Borderlands 2 is as much as I love the game. It's like all that running around was just not much just to give me another gun. I don't I would like
Yeah.
a really good intriguing story that gets you every second. That's what Arkham Asylum did. Every turn something new happened. Arkham Knight, yeah, it just can there be quantity over quality? Obviously, the quality is pretty good. It's very good. They were able to neatly do it, but it felt like every time when I came into this game, I had felt like there was too much stuff on my plate to do. Yeah, that is a good and a bad thing, too, because there's a lot of stuff you can do in the game, more stuff than you could do in any other Batman game. But at some point, it's just like with the Riddler stuff, that wasn't even your favorite thing, probably your least favorite thing of the game, right, Kyle?
When you, Jesse, look at Borderlands and in this game, and you feel that it's too fetch questy, I think that's a very personal stance because there's a lot of games that are built around that. And I think one of your favorite games, being Skyrim, is a very fetch questy game. But the reason that you were able to look way past that is because the whole atmosphere of that game sold you. You were able to escape into that, and that's what Arkham Knight was for me. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like I said, it was the Batman game I always wanted growing up, hoping that I was going to get someday, and they gave it
Oh,
to
yeah?
me. And I was able to just become Batman every time I played it.
Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from, Kyle.
So yeah, I loved that I had too much on my plate because I felt like that was such the most Batman thing that could happen was I had too much to do.
And I didn't
Batman's
feel
always
like
got
that,
so
so
many
that's
things to
why Arkham
accomplish.
Asylum kind of peaked with me, frankly, in terms of all the Arkham games. It's because I wasn't really looking for that kind of Batman game. So Arkham Asylum just like was put up on a pedestal.
But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think we can all agree they're all good games.
They're all fantastic.
I think we should go around and we should rank them, what our 1, 2, and 3 are. I'm going to go first. Obviously, Knight being the best one. I think Asylum's number 2, and then City would be 3. Jesse?
I would say Arkham Asylum. I might have to go Arkham City over Arkham Knight. I think I have to. So I'm going to say, yeah, Arkham Asylum number 1, City number 2, Knight number 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna say City's my favorite, closely followed by Arkham Asylum and then Knight. But in Arkham Knight you get to drive the Batmobile, and that makes it
true.
amazing.
That's a great Batmobile.
That to me is like just the coolest thing. And I wish, why did they put that in City? Like,
because it wasn't truly the free roam Batman game.
Yeah, but the Batmobile was still in the city. I mean, you still could have.
It was still there, Kyle.
I mean, but did you take down armies of tanks with your Batmobile?
Did you take
A lot
down
of people didn't like those tank things, Kyle. Like half the people.
I don't understand how anyone could. That was one of I have played Mass Effect 1. I have seen what horrible driving mechanics can look like.
Yeah.
That was so well done. It was so much fun. I literally can't think of a better way to design the controls and the mechanics for a tank Batman. Are they all telling me that when they saw Batman Begins and he goes all the way down deep into the Batmobile for the first time and shoots the gun, that you weren't just like, God, I hope I can do that with a Batmobile someday? And they gave you the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I want to say that I want to play Arkham Knight. Like, that's the game I want to play right now, though, in terms of, that I want to go back to before them. So, yeah.
Overall, I think if we could end on any note, I think all three of us would agree with this, that if you enjoy comic books and you enjoy video games, you should absolutely play all of these games.
Absolutely.
True story.
Our next video is going to be a review of Deadpool, so check that out.